2001.
Yes, great year. Great movie.
Great everything. Great number. Animage magazine.
Animage. ANIMAGE.
Yes.
Like for like Dungeons and Dragons people.
Oh, for anime movies and things.
Okay, anime movies. Okay.
So they ranked the 1995 movie Memories as 68th out of 100 in their greatest anime productions.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
It's better than 69.
What a happy accident.
Nice.
So Memories was an anthology of 3 shorter films. Magnetic Rose.
Yep.
Cannon Fodder.
Uh-huh.
And the deliciously titled Stink Bomb.
Okay. All right.
Let's talk about Stink Bomb. I know you want to.
Well, it
You've
was
seen
the
it,
interesting
right?
one out of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. There's a lab technician at a bioresearch or something similar facility in Japan.
Cool. Sci-fi. Like it.
His name is Nobuo Tanaka.
Yep.
He's got the flu.
Oh.
Poor Tanaka. He sees some pills and it seems like they're probably on his boss's desk and he goes, oh, they'll probably be useful. So he takes them.
No. You know you're in a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, he doesn't know that.
The instant you're in a biotech lab facility and you go, I'm sick, so I'll take random pills.
On my boss's desk because they'll probably help my flu. He doesn't know he's in a movie. He's a cartoon character.
Oh my God. It's like locking yourself in the gamma radiation facility.
In case you get superpowers. Turns out I'm just dying.
Licking the kryptonite.
Licking the kryptonite.
Licking the kryptonite.
Quick, Urban Dictionary now. So he takes the pills. And you'd be amazed to hear it turns out they're actually part of an experimental bioweapons program.
Again, don't leave the experimental bioweapons program
on your
materials
desk,
on your desk.
Unmarked around people who have flu. So the drug reacts with his system and some sources suggest with the flu shot that he's already had. Takes a nap at work. I don't know why.
Okay.
He doesn't realize that his body now emits a vapor/odor that turns out to be lethal to all other people. Not him, but other people.
Oh, okay. That's a shitty superpower. Shitty superpower.
Well, it's bioweapon, not really superpower.
Okay, well, you know.
Look at me. I can just make people die by breathing, and I don't know how to make it stop.
The not stopping it would be the problem.
It's a dud. It's definitely a dud. So everyone in his lab dies. He unsurprisingly freaks out.
Yep.
Tells the company headquarters who are in Tokyo. And
Did you say it's imperceptible? So he doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
They've all just died around
He doesn't
him.
know.
Okay.
Yeah, and they just start dying. So he says, hey, HQ, Tokyo, everyone's dead. And they said, bring the drug to us. You must get here.
Okay. Like as in the drug he took? Do they know he's taken it?
Well, I think he probably said he took the pills.
Oh, okay. Did I just say everyone's dead? I woke up, everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead, not me.
I didn't do anything suspicious is the main thing that I would be
that's
saying.
How you start. Hello? I didn't do anything suspicious.
I start
everyone's dead.
All of my phone calls start with that, no matter the context.
So do my emails, actually.
But it's not, you know when you have a minor car crash and you got to ring up to tell your significant other. You say, I'm all right, but
there's been an accident.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so you don't start with there's been an accident.
Damn it.
Or
that's what I did wrong. There's been an accident and I was involved. And stop crying. And
I haven't done anything suspicious.
Yes. No one super innocent was hurt. So they say deliver it to Tokyo and he says, cool. So along the way, his emittances apparently get stronger and it starts affecting people for miles around him.
Miles.
The effect expands.
Shitty bioweapon.
Horrible. Or no, very effective if you're not there.
Weapons are usually useful if you can control them.
They might stop it. So I don't know if it dies out. But apparently plants and animals not only don't get affected, it seems maybe they get stronger. That's an aside.
Oh, okay.
So he ends up being responsible for, it seems like, hundreds of thousands of deaths on his way to Tokyo.
This is very Japanese.
Yeah. He knocks out a whole prefecture, like on the outskirts of town, like that's 200,000-300,000 people. And at this stage, he still doesn't seem to realize it's because of him. People are just dying and he's trying to get to Tokyo.
Okay.
So Tanaka's a bit of a genius. But officials seem to work out this is what's going on and they want to stop him because they're not monsters.
But they can't get close.
Well, no, not only can they not get close, standard PPE and biohazard stuff doesn't work.
Of course not.
No.
I wouldn't have thought that it would.
No. So you think, I know what you think, you're thinking zap him from a distance.
Yes.
But somehow it seems to bugger up some of their military systems. So it doesn't go well.
Oh, it affects computers as well.
Or something.
This is very, very precise condition this guy has.
It's a hell of a pill. And they never mention whether he still has flu.
Farts so bad it stuffs up the computers too. But
he can't smell it. He's like, what? What's everyone so offended by? So finally, they go, Jesus, okay, we've got to trap him somehow and we'll cover him in liquid nitrogen to freeze him, which seems sensible.
Sure.
So they managed to block him between a tunnel and an exploded bridge, or the other way around. They basically, wedge him in between objects. And they start trying to deliver nitrogen, and there's something about fans, so they're trying to blow it over him.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why, but that's what they're doing.
Oh, I've never used liquid nitrogen as a weapon, nor should you.
No, I haven't. Well, no, I haven't.
No, but you should.
Not a weapon. What about practical joke that went wrong? Is that a weapon?
Self-defense tool?
Hang on a minute.
Yeah. Home invasion, and you've got the liquid nitrogen out.
Back off, or I'm going to freeze you. He freaks out and disables this gear somehow, not with his stink. I think it's deliberate. And he somehow at some point gets into an exosuit and is taken to the headquarters of the company.
Yep.
And it's not clear to me whether they knew he was in the exosuit or if they just happened to take the exosuit because they were taking away exosuits, as biotech research HQ companies do.
Okay.
So inside the building, he starts wandering through the building, and then he gets to the top and he gets out of the exosuit and, of course, kills everyone. And curtain. That's the movie.
That's the movie? There's no resolution. He just kills a lot of people.
It's a short, enigmatic film.
Yeah, okay. I feel it enigmatized.
You feel enigmatic?
Yeah, I kind of.
I've had an enigma. It's also worth noting that Stink Bomb was praised for its humour and high-quality visuals. Because what's not funny about that? But the visuals, you can imagine, be amazing. And at least one source, I tried to find others and not with too much luck, but at least one source claims this story was inspired by a real-life event that happened in a Canberra-sized California town in 1994.
No. Welcome to The Wholesome Show, the podcast that's not afraid to close its eyes and breathe deeply around the whole of science. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
You got him.
Real life event? My God. Give
Inspired
it to me.
by.
My name's Will Grant.
His name is also Will Grant. I am Rod Lamberts. We are the two people who talk. Before we kick off, I just want to thank an undergrad student of mine was asking about different topics for stories to do a podcast, and this is one of the ones, and I went, I never heard of that. So thanks to, I'll just say Khan in case they didn't want to be too fully identified, but cheers in case you're listening.
Oh, thumbs up.
Yeah, they didn't realise. I didn't want to just nick it without saying something. Also, the story's been covered in a lot of places, but a lot of this ep comes from a very thorough Discover magazine piece, like really thorough step through. Riverside General Hospital, Southern California, February 19, 1994.
All right.
About 8 p.m. Ambulance drivers burst through the doors of the emergency room.
Oh.
They got a 31-year-old woman called Gloria Ramirez, and they take her into trauma room 1. She was awake, but not doing well. Her breathing was shallow and rapid. Her heartbeat was way too fast, and that meant her blood pressure dies because it's not squeezing the blood around her body because it's going tick, 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 and it's not filling and emptying and filling and emptying. So she's not doing well. When she wasn't too out of breath to talk, she could answer questions, but they were really short responses. And some of her replies were confused, maybe veering into being kind of incomprehensible.
Okay.
The trauma room staff thought it was weird that she would have these symptoms because she's quite young, and usually you'd see this in these kinds of things, but typical in older folk.
So something must have happened.
Something must have happened. It also turns out, though, she had cervical cancer and wasn't doing well. So she was in a bad state of cervical cancer at this point.
Okay,
so
that's horrible.
cancer was wandering along
31.
in her.
All right.
Yeah, it's not great. So the emergency staff went, all right, what are we going to do? We've got to treat this situation. So sedatives to bring down all the jittering and so forth, Valium, Versed and Ativan, things like this. Also stuff for the heartbeat, so lidocaine, bretylium, and strastafactamine.
I was going to ask if it was those ones.
Strastafactamine is my favourite. Respiratory therapist, Maureen Welsh. She bags her, starts intubating and puts the thing on her face and starts squeezing to get some air into it. But none of this was working. So it's a problem.
Yeah.
She's not doing well. So they yank off her T-shirt to get ready to give her defibrillation. It's clear.
Get the heart going.
Yep. And when they did that, they saw she had a, quote, oily sheen covering her body. And some noticed a fruity garlic odor, and they thought it might have been coming from her mouth. What's wrong? You don't like garlic or fruit? It's going to be fine.
I'm feeling sad for some people here.
Who?
Everyone.
What makes you think that? So it's a bit odd.
Yeah, okay.
What are we going to do next? Get some blood.
Sure.
So nurse, Susan Kane, she goes to start drawing blood. She goes, it smells sort of wrong. The blood smells wrong.
Okay.
So she then goes,
But
yes,
point of order.
yeah,
The blood smells wrong.
yeah,
Did you investigate how much smell of blood is
is right.
a common nursing test? Like, do they have a whiff of the blood?
It wasn't the test. It's just as she's doing it, she's like, that don't smell right.
I've thought of the taste of blood. Yeah, that sort of metallic-y. It's lots of iron. You feel like you're eating iron filings. Sort of thing.
Delicious.
Smell of blood?
Yeah. Blood has a metallic smell normally.
I don't smell it a lot.
Well, I think it's more, that's true. They don't smell it a lot, but this did.
I can imagine in trauma conditions where there's a lot of blood around, you would get used to the smell, and so you'd notice, hang on,
that ain't right.
Weird smelling blood.
Or I don't normally smell it, but this time I can.
Oh my goodness, that is so weird.
Kane, the nurse, hands over to Welsh, the woman who's intubating.
Yep.
Hands a syringe and says, take this. I'm going to lean in close and see if there's a smell coming from Gloria Ramirez herself.
Sure.
So Welsh at the time grabs a syringe and smells it and says, it's kind of like ammonia. Her blood smells like ammonia.
Ammonia?
Yeah.
Like cleaning products?
Yeah. But she goes on to say, she was quoted, this was not the normal putrid smell you might expect from the blood of someone who was on chemo.
So your blood smells weird when you're on chemo?
Apparently putrid, according to this medical professional.
Wow.
I know chemo does horrendous things to you, but I didn't even think of that. Your blood stinks.
I get it's not a thing that you put on the warning. You know, hair falling out, you will complete loss of appetite.
Stinky blood.
Stinky blood not being the thing that you warn people about.
But also, I don't care about that part.
No, like if I'm reading a list of symptoms, for a medicine, it's like, loss of diet,
loss of diet, anal leakage,
impending sense of doom, and stinky blood. I'm not so worried about the stinky blood.
No, that's the low. It should be last on the list. That's when you TLDR and you just get on with it. So the smell was weird. It's gross. It's horrible. So that was the second opinion, kind of. Time to get a third and also a fourth one. So this time they bring in the medical resident, Julie Goshinsky.
I thought you were going to say like a sommelier or something like that.
Can you imagine?
We need an expert.
This blood is not quite right because it has come from the south side of the mountain and near a little river that has maybe too much camel poo. They also bring in the boss doctor at the time of the emergency room, whatever. Humberto Ochoa. Don't worry, these names will come back and I will help you.
Oh, it's all right.
So they both had a look at the syringe and went, that's not cool, but also there's these little straw-coloured flecks in it.
In the blood.
In the blood.
In the blood, okay.
Cool, right? Smells like ammonia. It's got little flecks in it. She's covered in an oily sheen with a fruity garlic smell. So suddenly the nurse, Kane, looked like she was going to faint. Someone caught her just before she hit the deck, and apparently her face felt like it was burning, and they put her on a trolley and took her out.
Okay. So Kane is the one that had a sniff first?
Yep. She took the blood out and went, that ain't right, hand it to Welsh. Then Dr. Korchinski, so the resident, started to feel queasy and lightheaded.
Oh, my God.
So she went to sit down for a bit. Someone went to check on her and said, how are you going? And she went, hit the deck, and they took her off on a trolley as well. She was apparently periodically shaking and would repeatedly stop breathing briefly. So she had apnea, but not the sleep kind. She had awake apnea, which isn't great. You don't want that. You don't seem happy.
No.
It's a nice way to end your week, isn't it? So then the respiratory therapist who'd bagged Gloria, she took a dive. Thud.
What time are we talking over, like a couple of minutes? Like they took the blood and then
brief.
From
it's brief. I'll give you a time stamp in just one tick.
Cool.
So she remembers waking up and unable to control her limbs. So she's not doing well.
Oh, wow.
So back in the room with Ramirez, with Gloria, more staff started getting ill. So the boss doc, Ochoa, evacuated the emergency room. Everyone into the parking lot. Get out.
Everyone, go. We've got to get out of here. Something's going on.
Yeah.
Sorry, patient.
But a skeleton crew hung back.
Oh, okay.
Which I'll tell you about them. So outside in the parking lot first, the fallen staff, their clothes were removed and they put in bags in case there was some kind of contamination, poisonous gas, whatever.
Nude up.
Exactly. No, just as cool.
I don't know. Like first precaution, it could be the clothes. Get rid of the
clothes. You don't seem well, get nude. That's what I do. Is I've got a sniffle.
You know, if someone's fainting, I am not an emergency nurse, trauma doctor, anything like that. I have no skills in this. But it's a big jump to go from, okay, you're fainting, it's got to be the clothes. That's where I'm going first.
Well, as well, they're not saying only. They're just saying this seems, because it was so quick and it seems like it spread suddenly, they're going, there must be something in the air.
Contamination on you.
What if it's on the clothes?
You've still got it in your pockets. There's a cloud of that
shaved
stuff.
their heads and their bald. No, they didn't do that. Oh. So Gorchinsky, the doctor, kept flailing and apneaing.
Wow.
And Kane, the nurse, also flailed and still had her face felt like it was burning.
Jesus.
This is out in the car park. So meanwhile, as you asked, a skeleton crew stayed to try and work on Gloria. So they had cocktails of drugs and multiple defibrillation attempts, which I think in itself is probably horrendous.
Yeah.
Zapping and zapping and zapping.
Oh,
fucking horrible.
Absolutely.
No success. So she was declared dead at 8:50.
Oh, okay.
Her body was isolated in another room, as you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
Then a nurse called Sally Balderas, who helped move her body, started retching, felt a burning sensation on her skin.
Oh, my God.
And soon she too was on a trolley and get out.
Jesus.
So Gloria had been brought in at about 8:15. By 8:50, she was dead. All this had happened in like 40 minutes less. Yep.
Wow. And so what do we got? Like four nurses and doctors now passing out from this thing?
At least. So by the end of it, 23 of the 37 emergency room members had some kind of symptom.
Jesus.
So the aftermath, 5 of them were hospitalized for the whole night. Balderas, the one who'd moved the body, she had ongoing bouts of apnea during her 10-day stint in hospital.
Wow.
Gorczynski, might be Gorshinsky, the resident doctor, she was the worst. She spent 2 weeks in intensive care where she had not only apnea, she also got, this is awesome, hepatitis, pancreatitis, and my fave, avascular necrosis, which of course I know you know, but others might not.
Give the others a definition so I can hear it as well.
So you can correct me if I get it wrong. A condition in which bone tissue is starved of blood and begins to die.
I got the necrosis bit.
Yeah, so bone tissue.
Stuff's dying.
Bone tissue in particular, and it attacked her knees.
Oh my God, your knees are dying from the inside?
Yeah. So she was on crutches for months after this because her knees.
So they came back to life though?
Apparently, there's not a lot of follow-up on her that I could find.
Oh, well, look crutches for months says either then she moved further down to wheelchair or she's better.
Yeah, because she had, hepatitis and pancreatitis to worry about as well as the apnea. Back to the magical night. This is what happened to these people in the aftermath. But let's go back to the magical night when it all was going on. So about 11 p.m., so we're talking, couple of hours, 3 hours after, 2 hours after Gloria Ramirez is declared dead, Hazmat team arrives. And they're, of course, like, okay, there's going to be some A-grade badass toxin here. Something horrible's going on. We've got some culprits in mind.
Yeah.
So they said, look, it could be hydrogen sulfide, like a sewer gas.
Yeah, coming out in the room sort of thing through a pipe. Yeah.
So they go, okay, that's a
just a coincidence that, it's in the room. Yep.
Yeah, her being sick didn't matter. And they say, like, it smells like rotten gas. High concentrations means only a couple of belts of it will kill you.
Sure, okay.
So that's great. It also might be they suspected phosgene, which is a shit awful gas, tears open lung capillaries and drowns people in their own blood. So that's cool. And if you're thinking, why the hell would they suspect it would be there? It's because it also has a lot of industrial uses. So it's possible it could have been around.
Drown in your own blood.
Yeah, it's not just a gas that you use to kill.
I had a lot of bleeding, but it was internal. That's where the blood's meant to be. Oh, my God.
And then drowning on your own blood. Like, ugh. I mean, I've thought of a lot of horrible deaths, and that would be in the top 10.
Maybe you don't notice it. Maybe.
No, you notice.
I'm sure you do.
I mean, when you get a bad cough, you notice. Imagine the cough is increasingly coming from within and soon you can't breathe because of it.
Stop it. Oh, God.
You started it.
Yeah, okay.
All
right.
You pushed record.
Keep going then. Keep going.
But there was no sign of either of those, which is really great news, but also shit news because now they're going, we don't know what it is, and now we've got to do an autopsy on Gloria Ramirez, and she could be a huge human gunge bomb of revolting terribleness.
Oh, wow.
Because fuck knows what's going on with Gloria.
So they really went, it's got to be something Gloria-ish.
We reckon Gloria's the source, the vector.
So she was put in another room once she was dead, isolated.
In a body bag and a aluminium casket box thing.
My favourite stories are always when we got to bury people weird. Like it's like
set them in 9 meters of concrete.
You sir, you're going in the concrete and the lead.
Yeah.
You're in steel, so you can't drill your way out.
Because we respect you.
This
is for the family.
Nothing says things are going great, then we got to bury this body hardcore. Like you got to make sure you stay down there.
Oh, and did I mention we're not going to tell anybody where your remains are, just because? And 9 meters is standard, right?
Yeah, that's the normal.
We're going to take you out to the Geological Centre of Australia and put you in non-movable pits.
Yeah, we're gonna do the Genghis Khan as well. We're gonna all of your burial crew, they bury you, and then we kill them, and then we kill the people that killed them, so that no one knows where you're buried.
What happens to the people who killed the people who killed them?
Yeah, kill them too.
So everyone dies.
Yeah, all the way back.
All the way back to Adam and Eve.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. Kill all knowledge.
Kill all knowledge. We've got to keep everyone
I think
safe.
that might have been Genghis Khan's strategy. He wasn't big on civilization. He was
dead by then. He didn't care. So, yeah, as I said, Gloria's in the bag. She's in a body bag inside an aluminium crate inside a sealed room. So the coroners put on airtight biosuits with self-contained air supplies. They got blood and tissue samples as well as samples of the air from the body bag and the crate.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? This is science. That's sciencey. And at this stage, of course, there's starting to be already some media interest, and that continued over the next while. Mm-hmm. But the coroners ain't talking to nobody. So they did their investigations, and they found nothing.
You can't do that to me. Give me a result.
I can do whatever I want.
Oh, my God.
I'm in charge. We both have a microphone. So let's step it up a notch, which is also a nice Middle European name, stepping up a notch.
I was thinking that.
I am bought a stepping up a notch. Forensic Science Centre at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. So they've stepped it up.
Okay, we're going to the top, the people that know what they're doing about this stuff.
And that lab had all kinds of deep science interest in nuclear war times and stuff. They got credentials.
I've heard of them before.
Yeah, they've changed into a big part of what they have is this Forensic Science Centre and the federal facility to help people who have
weird forensic
problems.
X-filey problems.
Yes, I have forensic issues. I need help. So the coroner and them had some chats, and finally on March 25th, so this all started in early February, March 25th, the centre officially requested samples for analysis. Please send us some bits.
Seems interesting. We'll deign to take this case on. It's wild enough for us.
Sounds important enough.
Yeah, cool.
Centre Director Brian Anderson, he was very interested in the case. He was personally like, this is interesting. Let's find out. So they had a plan. They were going to analyse the compounds, the inorganic and the organic, in the blood, the bile, all the different tissues, heart, liver, lungs,
all
brain,
the good
kidney,
bits.
Pull out all the delicious pie ingredients and
put them, boil them down, and have a good sniff.
Analyse this.
Yeah.
So they're looking for inorganic and organic stuff in all this business, but also they're checking gases that might have vented off, and particularly in the headspace, so the space between the goo and the cork in all the vials.
What? Okay, yeah.
So you got a vial of bile,
the gas.
Not only the gas that's between the goo and the lid. And he had particularly high hopes for the one that contained the bile, so the secreting juices that the gallbladder holds.
Who doesn't have particularly high hopes for the bile?
And it's where poisons often concentrate. So let's check the bile gas. So they got the gas and they warmed it up to body temperature because that's important to find stuff out.
Yeah.
And they found nothing.
Oh, my God. Give me a result.
Nope.
Is body temperature like a setting on your oven? You can just
hot, cold,
make it like
body temperature.
Like human.
I want my soup body temperature.
I want it like blood.
Fucking gross.
I want to feel it going.
I want to do it at the next restaurant I'm at. Can I have the gravy body temperature?
You know, food will taste better about. I'll bet there's a French tradition. It's like the body temperature is beautiful.
You know, if it is
so
not the
lovely.
same temperature as my anus.
It's beautiful.
So here's what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it's time to wheel out the computer-guided combined gas chromatograph spectrometer. You were thinking that, right? You were thinking, I know what's coming next. The computer-guided combined gas chromatograph mass spectrometer.
What does computer-guided in that sense mean?
The computer tells it where to go.
Yeah, but where to go? What? Like it's a gas measuring device. Like it's not like a little piloting thing.
I guide thee.
It's a gas measurer with a computer.
Yes.
I think most science instruments these days, if they called them computer guided, you'd go, yes. Mind you, I was in this facility today, and it's like it's sending beams of particles around at like 5 to 10% of the speed of light and stuff like that. And my God, the dials that they had to guide it, like they were old school 1950s sort of like little wooden dials. Wooden dials. Okay, it wasn't wooden. But
gold edges, mahogany.
It was old school. And I was like,
1 kilometre an hour, 3 kilometres an hour, 10% of the speed of light, infinity.
My God, I was like, don't you want a bit more precision? He's like, no. Well, that comes in, it's a lot of dials and all the dials together. That's how you get your precision. I was like, this is beautiful.
No, you just crank it up to 10% of the speed of light from none. Anyway, this could be particularly useful. This instrument is useful because you can find non-organic or non-medical compounds, because often medical folks, when they say it's sterile, they mean no biologicals.
Oh, do they?
Not other chemicals.
Oh.
Yeah, so they went, let's see what else is in there.
Yep.
And they found a bunch of unexpected and expected compounds. So the expected ones, residual drug stuff, etc.
I don't need to know. I was expecting them. It's fine.
Exactly.
You don't need to tell me them.
Why waste your time?
Everyone was expecting the expected
boring
compounds.
the shit out of people right now, and I apologise.
There you go.
So, a couple of unusual ones.
Yes, good.
First, and unidentified amine, so a derivative of ammonia. So the amine, they reckon that was probably caused because one of the anti-nausea drugs she was on breaks down, and amine's a byproduct. So you'd expect it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, that was weird.
So
no, it's not.
Put it back in the expected category.
Yep, leave it back. So it got shuffled out of weird.
Yeah. So unusual in a normal blood, but
in this, we got a cause to be expected. Second, nicotinamide or nicotinamide.
It's on the durries.
So it's one of the vitamin Bs, and we all need nicotinamide. It's a vitamin B compound. Yeah.
You get nicotine in like
nicotinamide, not just straight nicotine. Like smoking a durry doesn't enhance your vitamin B.
So if you add two chemical names together, it's a different chemical.
It's like if you add one molecule and another molecule.
This is ridiculous.
And they love each other very much. They turn into something else.
This is ridiculous.
I know. Science podcast. So we need vitamin B, and nicotinamide is a way to get it. I, in fact, take a nicotinamide supplement because apparently it helps longevity.
Do I?
No.
Should I?
Yes.
You don't seem like a legit doctor in this scenario.
No, but I got it from a legit doctor's spin-off company that sells supplements. Anyway.
Helps with longevity.
I know.
Oh, my God.
And here's the proof. Here's the proof. Am I dead right now? Am I alive? Yes, it works.
Longevity.
It works. So second one, the nicotinamide. So as I say, it's a vitamin B. We do actually need it. It's good for us, etc. But it's unusual for really sick people like Gloria on the chemo and whatever else she was on to be taking it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, she wants a bit of longevity. She's got cervical cancer. She's like, give me some longevity with my vitamin.
Nicotinamide.
Yeah.
Nicotinamide. Apparently it's this, but it's not common. Maybe it has strong effect. It's kept me alive. Also, it can be used to pad out meth. Because it's cheap, easy to do, and if you have a lot of it, apparently it can be a little bit brain wobbling. So it's you can pad out meth with it.
Cool.
That's number 2, unusuals. So that one they identified, but they
so it's number 3, just meth. You're going to tell me
just meth.
It's just meth.
Crack cocaine. So the first one was unidentified, the amine, but then it was like, oh, it makes sense. The second one, they're like, it's this thing we're aware of, but it seems strange. Third one was called dimethyl sulfone. Dimethyl sulfone.
Ah, that's the one with the
sulfur.
Yeah, and the thing.
So it's used as an industrial solvent.
Cool.
Dimethyl sulfone. Also can be produced naturally in the body a little bit, but the liver breaks it down really fast. Like it's got a very short half-life, 3 days, and it's very rarely do you detect it in normal functioning bodies.
Okay.
So it's like, that's odd. Not impossible, but odd.
Why does the body produce an industrial solvent?
Well, that's not how it works. The body produces it. It also turns out to be useful as an industrial solvent, but they don't milk it out of people. They milk it out of, I don't know, rabbits.
There should be more milking industrial cleaning products out of people.
They really should.
More. I mean, I don't know how much there is. It's probably
8%.
somewhere between 8% a lot and
fuck
all. Medium.
Absolutely zero.
I mean, would you buy a cleaning product and if it's
milked out of actual humans? We squeezed a bunch of people from the Amazonian rainforest.
I don't want them to die.
No.
But, if you've milked a few humans to get your cleaning product.
As soon as you say milk and person, you're like,
Well, milk. That is the classic thing that does
come out of some persons.
And is.
But if, for example, milked out a gentleman, you go, I don't want it.
Well,
I'm not taking it.
What if it's an awesome cleaning product?
Fuck me.
Like you need to clean very specific.
And clean is doing a lot of heavy lifting here.
Well, look, you told me many, many, many moons ago.
What did I tell you?
And this is delving back into the dark ages of this here podcast.
Yeah.
But you told me about those sperms that they added little robot suits of armor to go and
guide them magnetically.
Yeah, exactly.
For cancerous women's issues.
Or for cleaning things. Obviously, if
they fight with swords, they beat the mold with their swords.
Cleaning very specific little bits.
So anyway, Gloria's concentration of dimethyl sulfone was noteworthily high. It's strange. And
noteworthily.
Yeah, it's
just point of order.
That's odd.
Is like I'm just saying you're very good at resisting the jargon, but only a science egghead would say the word noteworthily. Maybe a lawyer.
No. This makes me a literature expert. Scientists don't know noteworthily. And Andresson's suspicion was that Gloria had taken a lot of codeine and paracetamol, and high doses of those fuck your liver. So maybe the dimethyl sulfone wasn't breaking down properly. This makes sense because her liver's maybe under duress, so it's staying in her system. It's not breaking down. And this is the weirdest thing so far because also in part, why is there so much there anyway? Like, I mean, yes, we produce a little bit of it, but there was a notable amount. Like you got the crystals and shit in the blood or the flecks.
Oh, is that what the flex were?
Possibly. Regardless, dimethyl sulfone on its own would not have killed her. Better yet, trashed a room full of people.
Damn. Okay.
So the lab was going, we're stumped. We don't know. The coroner went, we don't know either. We're stumped. So they held a press conference, the coroner, on April 29.
And crowdsourcing some ideas.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to?
Here's what we got. Let me just read out the list.
So have a sniff of the body. See what you reckon.
Now sniff the blood. So they basically said, look, she died of cardiac dysrhythmia triggered by kidney failure stemming from her cervical cancer.
Okay.
But what about the other people?
Yeah. No, I'm far more interested in them. I understand that she's going into some sort of shock. And
things went wrong.
And she's causing problems, so there's clearly something, well, if your story is implying she is. I want to know about...
How? And what about this implies that?
Well, the fact that you started...
conclusion leaper.
With the stink bomb story. I mean, you kind of...
Coincidence. I like cartoons. So all the coroner would say about other people was they did exhaustive toxicological studies and they didn't find anything that would have killed her, better yet messed up others. So what the fuck happened? So we're here with exhaustive investigations by serious experts from at least 2 institutions. No plausible biological explanation for what happened to everyone who wasn't Gloria. But this isn't good enough. We need to go further. We need to find out, right? You want an answer?
Well, I know our listener does because I do.
You already know. I mean, you know. You're a chemist.
I don't.
You don't know. So it's time to call in top scientists from the California Department of Health and Human Services.
Cool.
34 of the 37 emergency room staff who were around there, they interviewed. So that's a lot. That's a shitload of the people. 3 missing. The similarities between people who'd passed out, had breathing difficulties and muscle spasms existed, and the similarities were things like more women than men were affected, and also people who had empty stomachs, so they didn't have any food in their
they're hungry people.
Yeah, the people who skipped their din-dins.
Sucking down the air harder.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you do when you're hungry. You breathe harder to try and get nutrient. Also, people who worked really closely or near within a few feet of Gloria had been at particularly high risk. So like, okay, there's some patterns.
Yep.
And then you add to this, an independent engineering firm could not identify any potential sources that may have contributed to the event. So they had to sniff around and look around. So they couldn't see any external shit, no toxics, whatever. They studied the hospital ventilation, the plumbage and draining, available medications and cleaning supplies, no plausible culprits. Also, the fact that the 2 paramedics who brought her in were not affected.
So that is weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Remind me again, did they cut her open? They
didn't. They're doing
like defibs and they're...
So that was the people in the they paramedics just brought her in.
They took blood,
but the paramedics didn't.
Yeah, no. So the people in the room took blood and they did defibrillate, but they didn't.
They didn't cut her open. They didn't do anything like nothing invasive like that. So the official report conclusion had to be, this is the obvious result of all this stuff from the folk from the California Department of Health and Human Services, mass sociogenic illness, perhaps triggered by an odor.
Oh, so we're saying it's a mass hysteria event, and like we're all deluded.
That's what they suggested?
Oh, calm down. I know that they happen, but...
well, we've talked about those. The dancing hysteria of...
Many, many moons ago. Yes, indeed. That was 15th, 16th century. And so
1994.
I'm just saying our documentation on that is not perfect. And look, there is the story of the high school girls in New York State who had an outbreak of Tourette's. There are multiple stories. And so it's a plausible explanation for something here. It's weird to go that far though.
Yeah. Well, they also said, look, we're not 100% ruling out the possibility there was a toxin. But anyway, sociogenic, blah, blah, blah. So let's cue the media frenzy. And angry victims. When this came out, the media obviously went, holy shit.
We want to know.
Crazy.
There is a stinky woman that is causing people to convulse.
To think they're unwell.
Oh, well, either way, she's stinky enough that people become unwell.
You smell so bad, I feel sick. I'm going into intensive care.
You either smell so bad.
You gave me hepatitis from your stink.
That's a big one.
I've smelled some bad stuff before, but never gave me hepatitis. So Gorczynski, remember the resident doctor who got really smashed, got the dead knee thing, etc. So she was really fucked off because she had a damages lawsuit running, $6 million worth, against the Riverside General Hospital.
$6 million for dead kneecaps
and other stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't know what.
Hepatitis, pancreatitis, intensive care, recovery from the knee thing is like. Anyway, she was suing.
Okay. I just don't know the cost of things.
She was also part of this suit was the coroner's office, etc. And she was basically the lawyers, and she said the official report saying, and I'm paraphrasing, it's all in her head might not have been that helpful. So she was peeved.
Sure.
She was peeved.
Yeah.
It also seemed kind of like bullshit that experienced hospital staff would freak out about a normal trauma room event.
It would be weird. It would be
so this woman was really unwell and we had to help her and she died.
And suddenly we all had a mass psychosis. Yeah. I get a mass psychosis probably needs some sort of triggering event that is quite different for normal.
Exactly.
And,
it should be unusual.
This at the moment is just a patient came in, slightly stinky blood, but other than that.
Very unwell. We tried, she died. That's not uncommon. Yep. So that was a bit like, come on, guys. So Welsh, the respiratory tech person who was shitty, who'd done the bagging of Gloria.
Yep.
She was also fucked off because she's like, no, this is bullshit. That's not what happened. This is not in our heads. She'd also been collecting documents, snippets of info, news reports, etc. about the whole thing. So she had a little scrapbook.
Who doesn't keep a scrapbook?
Me. Do you have one?
No.
So both of us.
I mean,
to answer your question.
No, I mean, just if shit was happening, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I might just scrapbook.
I have regularly intended and thought in afterwards.
I have regularly intended.
To keep
the path to hell is paved with regular intentions.
I know. I'm on the way. So she said this isn't great. So she sent it to the head of the Livermore Labs, the forensic guy, Anderson. Yep. She said, "Here's all these documents."
That is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologise.
That is not the way to productive conversations.
Isn't
like
it?
if you've done a scrapbook documentation of whatever incident and you then send that into the government.
P.S. I'm not crazy.
You got to put a big P.S. You've got to put it all over it. I am not like. My God.
I am not a crackpot.
Here's my whiteboard with my string.
I've got this red string. I call it twine.
I'm sorry. You just can't.
So she sends it to Anderson, and he goes, "Oh, hang on a minute. This is worth having a little look." So he goes to his deputy director, whose name is Grant. So sus. So he says to his deputy, have a dig through her stuff and all the original analysis stuff.
Hey, deputy,
let's have a look.
Make sense of the crazy lady.
Yeah, check this shit out.
I'm not saying she's crazy. I'm just saying
you just said she's crazy.
Scrapbook is not the way that we do things in science normally.
So Grant said, yeah, cool, but I'm a nuclear chemist, and he quote, my organic chemistry knowledge is, to be honest, minuscule.
Yeah.
But anyway, he has a look. He checks into it. So he looks at the spectrometry, computer-guided, et cetera, results, and he looks at it and he goes, what was actually the dimethyl sulfone, the stuff we talked about before?
That was the unusual stuff. The industrial solvent.
Which would normally be broken down by healthy liver, et cetera.
But still.
He mistook it for dimethyl sulfoxide. This becomes important. It's normally known as DMSO. That's its common organic.
So he's been confused by
he's gone,
different chemical in there.
The sulfone, he thought it was the sulfoxide. So the only difference between the two is DMSO, the one he thought it was, has one oxygen atom. Yes. Dimethyl sulfone has two.
Oh my God, of course.
Other than that, they're the same.
Well, if one's hiding behind the other. Like if you look at them.
True, the sneaky oxygen.
And the other oxygen atom is sort of behind. How could you recognise it?
It's not his fault. So that's the only difference. So Anderson, his boss, says, no, mate, look, that's not DMSO. It's the other one.
No, yeah.
But I get why you made the mistake, one oxygen or two. So it's just an oopsie. He's like, fuck, let's move on. He just made a little oopsie. So we'll get on with it. Yeah. Or should we?
No. Yes.
Or should we? So it turns out DSMO can react with oxygen to become dimethyl sulfone, the one it actually is.
Yes. Always.
One reacts with the other and turns into it.
One knows. Yes. Yeah. One knows this one.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, it could have been DSMO on her. It reacted with oxygen. That's what we saw in her blood. That's why the other one that we actually found was in there. So this is fine, but the mistaken identity, oopsie, this could be useful. This could be useful.
Oh, you were wrong and dumb, but you're wrong and dumb.
In a useful way.
Might have put us in the path to rightness.
Useful dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great, but
that's all anyone can aspire to, really.
Usefully dumb.
You could be usefully dumb. And
I've been usefully dumb.
Nothing more than that.
For decades. Secret of my career. So you kind of go, that's great, DSMO, this substance, she may have been in touch with it, but who fucking cares? Because how would she have been in touch with this thing? Turns out it's sold as a gel in hardware stores, the DSMO, the thing he thought it was, but it wasn't.
A gel? A hardware gel.
Hardware stores sell it as a heavy-duty degreaser.
Oh.
So there's a gel based on this stuff he thought it was, but it wasn't.
What are we degreasing engines and shit?
Yeah.
Or on her chest.
They didn't
her oily residue.
That's not what was actually in her body. She was
rubbing it on her boobs.
Yeah, but exactly. I need to grease these bad boys.
That's what What's going on? I've figured it out.
You've done it. Why bother with the rest?
I'm
We're
too
done.
Greasy, and I need to degrease.
I'm feeling oily.
I need some hardware degreasing. No, I don't think that's the solution. I have not figured it.
So they haven't figured it. So the degreaser that they sell in hardware stores, though, is 99% pure.
Oh.
And that has, let's call them side effects.
Sure. Side effects to me says medicine has positive benefit
And not.
and some other things, the diarrhea and the impending sense of doom. I feel like dissolving your organs from the inside, if that's what a chemical does, that's the effect. And side effect that you bliss out for a while it happens.
No, but if its purpose is to degrease your engine and because you used it, then your organs dissolve, that's a side effect.
Okay, if you did it over there.
Yeah.
But if you take it, that's effect.
No one said she took it. Yeah, basically the tests have been going on since the 60s. It said, look, with this level of purity, 99%, it can fuck with your eyesight. It's bad. It's bad.
Okay.
At that level, it's bad.
Okay, don't huff it.
Yeah, don't huff it, don't lick it, don't do any of that shit. But Gloria wasn't a professional degreaserist. So why in the fuck would she have come into contact with DSMO? Why?
Was she an amateur degreaser?
Yeah, she's just a
hobbyist?
A dabbler.
When I see an engine, I just got to degrease.
It looks greasy.
I'm just not sure what bit of this that Gloria is doing.
I'm going to pull my gel out and. No, it turns out it also has an off-label or folk remedy use.
Oh no! Oh no!
For sore joints and muscles.
Oh, okay.
And Grant, your ancestor, he knew this because he used to be a bit of an athlete in his past, and so it was very common. And apparently in the 70s, watered-down versions of it were used. Athletic departments around high schools and colleges all the time.
Degrease your knees.
Yeah. But watered down. And so you rub it on and apparently people believed, or maybe it did, take away pain and stuff. It was a pain reducer or inflammation reducer, at least in theory.
How do they apply it? Was this
rubbed on.
An ointment?
Yes, an unguent, external, topical, if you will.
So there might have been some rubbing on.
So, and something people missed earlier, at least in the reports, was the link between the oily sheen and garlicky pong on her. That's exactly what DSMO, if you'd rubbed it on yourself, would be like. You'd be a bit oily, you'd smell a bit garlicky and
There you go. Oh.
But Grant only remembered this after reviewing the scrapbook. Why the hell would Gloria have had a bunch of it in or on or around her? Well, the bottom line was she would have been in a lot of pain probably from cancer and stuff.
Sure.
Might have turned to that remedy. Then, when she collapsed from cancer-related kidney failure, the ambulance guys came in, put an oxygen mask on her face, which oxygenated her system and turned the DSMO into the sulfone, the one they actually found.
Wow.
That's the theory. So it basically took a one oxygen molecule, added an extra one, turned it into the dimethyl sulfone. Okay. So there's a chemical reaction.
So hang on. So she is applying this externally?
That's what they're theorizing.
Yeah. So applying it externally, but then enough is getting into her system and then that put the oxygen.
They whack the extra oxygen on.
Wow.
It causes a transformation of the chemical or of the compound. So it could have been explained. The dimethyl sulfone, the original thing they found in her blood, could be explained because she'd been rubbing DSMO on herself to get rid of pain. Yay, science. But there's more. You thought it was over. It's never over. So far as we know, Gloria has a bunch of this stuff in her system, the dimethyl sulfone, that could have been plausibly explained by her using DSMO for pain relief. But why would that fuck with the people around her?
Yeah.
So like maybe it fucked with her, but why would it fuck with the people around her? So science nerd time, and I'll do my best here. I've worked hard to make this.
I'll be not dumb.
Get ready.
I'll be straight about this.
So dimethyl sulfone, the thing they found, if it gets 2 more oxygens added to it, just a couple more oxygens. So now it's got 4. You get dimethyl sulfate. And apparently dimethyl sulfate is a fucking monster. It's a horrible, horrible compound. It can cause convulsions, delirium, paralysis, coma, damage to kidneys, liver, and heart. And also apparently, at least in one experiment, 10-minute exposure to 0.5 gram of it in a cubic meter of air can kill a person. 10 minutes, kill you.
They did that in an experiment?
You
said experiment.
I know.
What? This sounds. It sounds like that you're missing the story here. Like that. Like.
Oh, by the way, ethics.
by the way, we put people in a cube to see how much would kill a person.
Turns out 0.5 gram. That might have been referring back to a recent episode. Maybe they tried it on rats and decided this is the same for people.
Oh, okay. It's not some.
But the symptom list of things exposing to this monster one, the sulfate, was really great match for what all the people were experiencing.
Yeah, right.
So they've gone, oh, hang on a minute. So maybe the extra oxygen, blah, 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 with this thing she already had in her system because she rubbed goo on herself, transmogrified because of the oxygen to keep her alive, into this monster, this fucking monster. So the question then is, was it possible that Gloria's body could have caused this transformation? Like to cause the sulfone they found to strap on 2 extra oxygens and make this monster at all? Was it possible at all? Better yet, to knock out all these people. A, could it have happened? B, could it have expanded to that extent? So the science, if people are interested, just for fun, if you really want to read about it, there's a 1997 Forensic Science International paper, a possible chemical explanation for the events associated with the death of Gloria Ramirez at Riverside General Hospital. So who knows what it's about?
It's not
an obscure title.
It's not a strong like if you're a scientist just going a possible.
Yeah,
I get you're hedging your bets, but you're really not standing in a claim saying this is what happened.
They're not. One of the subheadings is toxicology and semi-quantitative speculation.
I feel like you could put under every scientific journal article, you just append it with
possibly,
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, just go maybe.
As far as we're aware.
Yeah.
But I do like, toxicology and semi-quantitative speculation. If you're going to speculate, make it semi-quantitative.
I used some numbers.
Yeah, a little bit. We we made shit up. So the TLDR version is temperature or electricity, defib, may have helped this conversion.
Wow.
And like I said, this article, I actually trolled through this article. There's a lot of chemistry going on, but the synopses are quite good. So basically, in theory, the sulfone, the thing they found in her, could have broken into sub-elements, like little bits. They're non-nasty. They just wander around in her body. And then some of them reformed into the monster, the sulfate.
Yep.
But then her warm blood kept it from staying stable, so it broke apart. So it formed, but she was warm-blooded because she's a human, and it just fell apart again. So that means the paramedics didn't get enough of it to get sick. There was a bit of it in there, but not enough. Then when the nurse, Kane, drew the blood, it was colder in the room, and these rooms tend to be colder, and the speculation is the cooler conditions meant it stayed bonded, and she got affected by the monster, dimethyl sulfate.
Oh, my God.
She got a waft of the pure shit, and down she went. Then it either broke apart or vaporized in the blood, so it disappeared, so they couldn't trace it. They couldn't see it in the samples.
Yep.
So again, semi-quantitative speculation. This is all hypotheses. So the coroner's office went, fucking sweet. We've got an explanation.
That'll do.
We're going to release it. This is probably what happened. Other scientists said, bullshit. No, there's no way body temperature would have been high enough to cause it to break down, because when it's used industrially, it could be as high as 300 Fahrenheit, 8 million Celsius. Others said, look, the symptom match wasn't that good because the monster sulfate acts like tear gas, so immediately you get streaming eyes and shit. And the fainting symptoms would usually take hours. And one guy who did original research in the 60s on this stuff said, look, it's bullshit. And his quote was, it's like that silliness with cold fusion, so it's absolute crap, except it has the potential to hurt people. So that's tricky. So the forensics guy, the director, Anderson, he came back and said, look, we didn't expect the coroner's office to release this report. We said this is actually in strict confidence. It's a preliminary draft. It needs more peer review. So hold your horses, just have a little look-see. But because these guys were looking for something to say, they went boom and they went public, which is a problem. So what actually happened? There was one other theory that I like. A 1996 piece from The Straight Dope said, the hospital may have been the site of a secret meth lab.
Okay.
Because remember the nicotine amide, which is used to pad meth.
Yeah.
And the quote is, meth chemicals, in inverted commas,
oh my God,
may have been smuggled out of the hospital in IV bags, and one was inadvertently hooked up to Ramirez.
Oh my God.
Which tripped off the round of nausea, headaches, and other symptoms that put 6 ER workers in hospital. Because apparently these smells and symptoms are classic to meth fume exposure.
Oh, Jesus.
According to an unnamed forensic chemist who analyzes drug lab materials. Also, and this is my favorite bit, meth manufacturing is said to have been big business in Riverside County, where the hospital was located. Authorities have shut down more than 1,000 meth labs since 1988. So as of 2022, we do not know what happened. That was the last thing I could find. But now that I've dive bombed into the history, I'm like, okay. So it's the inspiration for Stink Bomb, but obviously that movie got quite elaborate. But my favorite bit is the whole rabbit hole, this whole idea of what it might have been. That looks like X when it's actually Y, and they actually started to investigate, and it was the best thing they could come up with so far.
Yeah.
So we're left with a classic maxim, as always, without screw-up, science would be garbage.
Nice.
That is the takeaway.
Nice. Well.
That is one of the takeaways.
Without your meth lab theory, I was like, okay, we get to go on a little nice rant about complementary and alternative medicines here. But I actually wasn't going to, because I thought people all over the world, of course, use other things.
They do.
To assist in their medical journey. And
we do.
The thing about that is we don't know a lot about what might be going on there. And it's like, so what risks are we adding? What complications are we adding? But, we also don't know a lot about where the medicines that are approved and prescribed can go wrong. They clearly can go wrong. They can intermingle with other things. Other things can go wrong. So I don't think any doctor is going to recommend rubbing the DMSO.
Watered down industrial degreaser on your body,
watered down or not, onto the special bits.
Any bits really?
Yeah, don't. But then,
don't.
But then there's a.
They still don't know.
Hats off to you, chemists.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the investigative stuff, like the little chain of logic, is quite amusing, but they don't know.
What's your gut?
DMSO for sure. I'm assuming it is something close to that. There was definitely. I don't believe these people were psychogenic.
You don't believe that?
I don't believe it's psychosomatic. It's hard to get hepatitis psychosomatically.
I believe in psychogenic moments, as
yes,
in
I do too.
They absolutely do happen, but
not for hepatitis and
that's weird.
Actual measurable problems with joints.
Yeah, and the meth lab.
Garbage, hilarious.
All right.
I just love the idea. They went, because there was a meth equivalent in part of the chain of provenance for what happened. So meth.
So something wrong with Gloria's body, and probably due to.
It seems like the most plausible from what I read, that she may have rubbed this gunk on, and you can't blame her. She was probably having a horrible time. She would have been suffering wildly, in pain in all kinds of ways you and I can't imagine. And if this was common, so this was in the 90s, apparently that DMSO use, that degreaser use, was very popular, particularly in the 70s, but it hadn't disappeared by then.
Of course not.
And it was available. It hasn't been disproven, and no better theory that I could see has come up. That's the best guess.
God damn it.
Yeah, fucked up.